Welcome to Vivid English Podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James. Hello to all our listeners out there.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I've got my coffee, my notes, and I'm ready to go. How about you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Although I have to admit, I am a little bit nervous about today's topic. It's something that gives me, and I think a lot of our listeners, absolute nightmares.
Nightmares. Wow, that sounds very dramatic. What could possibly be that scary?
Prepositions. Specifically, those three little words that seem so harmless but cause so much trouble. In, at, and on. We call this preposition panic.
Ah, yes. Preposition panic. It is a very real condition I see in my students all the time. You pause, mid-sentence because you suddenly don't know if you were in a meeting or at a meeting.
Exactly. It creates so much hesitation, and it feels so inconsistent. We say in the car, but on the bus. We say at 5 p.m., but on Monday. Why is English like this? Is there actually a system, or is it just random chaos?
It can certainly feel random when you're learning it, but I have some excellent news for you and for everyone listening.
Oh, yeah.
It's not chaos. There is actually a very beautiful logic to it.
Okay, I am skeptical, but I am listening. What is the secret?
Well, the goal of our discussion today is not to memorize, 1,000 boring rules.
Right.
We are not going to simply read a list from a textbook.
Oh, thank goodness.
That never works.
No, it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Exactly. Instead, we're going to build a mental map. I want you to think of this like geometry. If you can visualize the shape of these words, if you can see the zoom level, you can solve the puzzle without memorizing a thing.
That sounds so much better. A mental map. So we're shifting from memorization to visualization.
Precisely. We are going to slow down and really look at the spatial logic behind the words.
I love that. Okay, listeners, take a deep breath. Let's stop the panic. Paint this picture for us. Where do we start?
We start with a shape. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a triangle.
A triangle. Okay, just a normal triangle.
Imagine an inverted triangle, an upside-down triangle. So it's wide at the top, and it narrows down to a tiny, sharp point at the bottom.
Like a funnel.
Exactly like a funnel.
Okay, I have the picture in my mind. Wide top, narrow point at the bottom.
Perfect. This is our triangle method. This triangle represents the scope or the size of these prepositions. And it works for time, and it works for place.
Okay, let's break down the geometry. Let's start with that wide part at the top.
The widest part, represents the word in. In is general big things. Think of it like a big container.
Yeah.
It encompasses a lot of space or a lot of time.
A big container. Okay, so in is the macro level.
Yes. It represents the largest area or the longest period. You are completely immersed inside it.
Okay, that makes sense. In is big. Now, what happens when we move down the triangle?
We get to the middle section. It's smaller than the top, but bigger than the point. This on is more specific. It's medium sized.
Okay, in is big, on is medium.
Exactly. Think of on like a surface or a line. It's not a giant container that surrounds you, but it isn't a tiny dot either. It's like a platform.
And that leaves the bottom point of the triangle.
The tiny point at the very bottom, this is at. At is the smallest, most precise preposition. Think of it like a tiny dot on a map or a laser pointer hitting a specific target.
I really like this visual aid. It transforms abstract grammar into shapes. Big is in, medium is on, and tiny is at. It's basically a zoom function.
That's a great way to put it. If you can remember big, medium, small, or general, specific, you are halfway there.
Okay, let's put this theory to the test. Let's see if it actually works in the real world. How about we apply this triangle to time?
Great idea. Let's start with the big one at the top of the funnel. In. Since in is at the top, it represents the longest periods of time.
Long periods. So we're talking about like centuries, history.
Yes. Centuries, decades, years, these are massive containers of time. So we say in the 19th century, in 1999, or in 2026.
That makes sense. You are living inside that year.
Correct. And seasons fit here too. A season is a container of several months, right?
Uh-huh. So we say in summer, in winter, or in the spring.
Yes, you're surrounded by the season. And that logic flows right into months. A month is 30 days. That's a long time relative to a single moment.
So in January, in September, you are inside the boundaries of that month.
You got it.
Okay, I see the pattern. Years, seasons, months, they're all in. Now, what about parts of the day? This one always trips people up.
This is also in because the morning isn't a single second. It's a long stretch of time. It's several hours. So we treat it as a container in the morning.
Okay, so in is for big chunks of time. Now let's move down the triangle to the medium size. On.
On makes things a bit more specific. We move from the container of the month to the surface of the day.
Days. Okay, so days of the week.
Yes. On Monday, on Friday, on Sunday. A day is smaller than a month, so we narrow our focus to on.
And I assume this applies to dates as well, because a date is really just a specific label for a day.
Precisely. This is a crucial distinction. You would say in January, because the month is big, but you say on January 25th, because you're talking about that one specific day.
That is a very helpful distinction. In January versus on January 25th. It's all about how specific you're being.
Right. The moment you add the number, it becomes a specific day, so you must switch to on.
Okay. We're moving down the triangle. We're at the bottom point now. The smallest, most precise time, at.
At is for the clock. It's a precise moment, a snapshot.
Like at 7 p.m.
Exactly. At 7 p.m., at noon,
Yeah.
at midnight.
Yeah.
These aren't durations. They are exact points on the timeline. If you look at a schedule, it's a single dot.
It's not a long period like morning. It is a specific second.
That's it. Now, there's one tricky part here regarding holidays. This is where that Zoom concept really helps.
Oh, I know this one. This always confuses students. Christmas, Easter.
Yes. This is where we need to be careful. If we're talking about the holiday period, the whole season, we treat it like a point on the calendar year. So, especially in British English, we say at Christmas.
At Christmas, meaning around that time of year. Like we get together at Christmas.
Correct. But if you use the word day, what happens?
Well, based on our rules, if I say Christmas Day, that's a specific day. So it must be on.
Bingo. On Christmas Day, because it's a day. But at Christmas for the general period.
That is a very subtle difference, but so important.
Very important. I will see you at Christmas versus I will see you on Christmas Day.
Okay. I think we have conquered time. We have the years in, the days on, and the clock at.
Shall we move our triangle over to place?
Let's do it. Let's talk about location. I assume the logic is the same.
It is exactly the same. We start at the top with in, the big container.
So for place, a big container would be a country.
Yes. Countries are huge areas with borders. So we say in Korea, in the United States, in France. You're contained within those borders.
And cities, too.
Cities are also large enclosed areas. In Seoul, in New York, in Paris. You're inside the city limits.
That makes sense. In is also used for physical containers, right? Like literal boxes.
Yes. Anything that encloses you on 3 or more sides. In a box, in a room, in the garden. If it has walls or boundaries, you're in it.
Okay. That's the large area. Now let's zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
Medium size, on.
For place, on usually means a surface. Imagine a flat line or a platform.
Like a table.
Yep. On the table, on the wall, on the ceiling. You are touching the surface, not inside of it.
What about floors of a building? This is common for offices.
Good question. A floor is a surface you walk on. So we always say On the first floor, on the fifth floor.
Never in the fifth floor.
Never. Unless you're a ghost trapped inside the concrete, you're standing on it.
Uh-huh. Fair enough. What about streets? This is a common one, and I feel like there's a trap here.
Think of the street as a line on a map. You are located on that line. So usually on Broadway, on Main Street.
Okay, so on is for surfaces, floors, and streets.
Exactly. Now let's look at the tiny point. At.
At is for specific points, like a GPS coordinate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or functional location. Places where you're doing something specific, regardless of the physical building itself.
Like at the entrance.
Yes, at the entrance. Or at the bus stop. It's just a dot on the map.
What about at the airport?
This is a great example. The airport is a big place, physically. But when we say, I am at the airport, we're treating it as a single waypoint on our journey. We aren't emphasizing the walls or the roof. We're emphasizing the location marker.
Ah, I see. So in the airport focuses on being inside the building, but at the airport just marks your location.
Precisely. And the most common one, at home.
Home is where the heart is, and it's also a specific point.
Yes. At home, at work, at school. These are functional points. You're there for a purpose.
You know, when you explain it like this, zooming in from a country to a street to a specific door, it feels so logical. It's like using Google Maps. You zoom out for in, you zoom in for on, you drop a pin for at.
It is logical. It is all about the zoom.
But there is one thing that never feels logical to me, and I know our listeners struggle with this too.
I think I know what you're going to say. Transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
The transportation mystery. Why do we get in a car, but we get on a bus? The bus is a vehicle, the car is a vehicle. It seems so inconsistent.
It does seem crazy. But there's a very simple rule to solve this. I call it the stand-up rule.
The stand-up rule. Okay, tell me more.
Here's the rule. If you can stand up and walk around inside the vehicle, you use on. You're on the platform of the vehicle.
Wait, really? It's that simple.
It's that simple. Think about a bus. Can you stand up and walk to a seat?
Yes, I can. Sometimes I have to stand up if it's crowded.
Exactly. So you're on the bus. Think about a plane. Can you stand up and walk to the bathroom?
Yeah.
So you're on the plane. What about a train?
Definitely. You can walk between cars. So on a train.
And a ship.
Huge walking space. Definitely on a ship.
Okay, so that explains on. Now, let's apply the rule to a car.
Imagine trying to stand up inside a normal, small car.
That would be a disaster. I would hit my head on the roof. I'd look ridiculous.
You absolutely would.
Exactly. You can't stand up. You must crouch down, open a door, and get into a container.
Mm-hmm.
You're enclosed. So you're in a car.
In a car, because I had to sit down immediately.
Yes. Same for a taxi. In a taxi.
What about a helicopter? They're usually small.
Usually you have to duck your head and climb in. So in a helicopter.
That is hilarious. I'm just picturing myself trying to stand up in my friend's tiny car now.
Just remember the rule. If you can walk, it's on. If you must sit, it's in.
I love that. That completely solves the mystery for me. It's about freedom of movement.
I'm glad. But we live in modern times. We don't just exist in physical places. We have digital lives too.
Oh, that is so true. We are always online. Do the rules change for technology?
The rules adapt. We have digital prepositions now. And interestingly, they follow the same logic. Let's break them down.
Okay, let's start with the internet itself.
Think of the internet as a platform, a surface where you put information. So we use on.
So on the internet.
Yes. And this applies to social media too. On Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook.
That makes sense. It's like a stage. You're performing on a stage, so you're posting on Instagram.
That's a beautiful connection.
Yes.
I saw a video on YouTube. The screen is a surface.
Okay. So when do we use in for technology?
In is used when we talk about the internal parts or functions of the software, like a container again,
For example.
in the app
Hmm.
or in the settings. You're going deeper inside the menu structure.
Ah, I see. I found a mistake in the email.
Correct. The email is the container for the text.
Or let's meet in the chat room.
Yes. It's an enclosed digital space. You enter it.
And at.
At is for digital addresses, just like a street address.
So email addresses.
Yep. You can reach me at my email address, or you can find more info at the link below.
It's a specific point on the web. A destination.
Exactly. So, on the platform, in the software, at the address.
It really does mirror the physical world. That's fascinating. We just took physical rules and uploaded them to the cloud.
English is surprisingly consistent once you see the pattern.
It is. But we have to talk about the exceptions. Because there are always exceptions. We can't let our listeners walk away thinking it's perfect.
Of course. Let's look at a few common mistakes and nuances, the places where the map gets a little fuzzy.
One major exception that always catches my students is time of day.
Go on.
We establish that we use in for parts of the day. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening.
Containers of time.
But then the sun goes down, we say at night.
Yes, that's the big one. We never say in the night. It's always at night.
Why? Is there a reason?
Honestly, it's mostly history. But if you want a mental trick, think of morning and afternoon as active times where you're in the flow of the day. Night is a distant, quiet point. But really, you just have to memorize it. Morning, afternoon, evening are in. Night is at.
Okay. Listeners, just mark that one with a red star in your notebook. At night.
Here's another confusing pair I hear a lot. On time versus in time.
Oh, these sound so similar. I arrived on time versus I arrived in time. What's the difference?
On time means you are punctual. You are exactly at the scheduled moment.
So if the meeting starts at 9:00 and I arrive at 9:00.
You're on time, like a train schedule. You hit the mark on the clock.
Okay. And in time?
In time implies a deadline. It means you are early enough to do something before it's too late.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. The ambulance arrived in time to save his life.
Ah, it wasn't about a schedule. It was about getting there before the bad thing happened.
Exactly. Or a less serious one. I got to the airport in time to buy a coffee before my flight.
I see. So on time is about the clock. In time is about beating a deadline.
Perfectly said.
Okay, one last nuance. I noticed this when I traveled to London. There seems to be a difference between US and UK English regarding streets.
Yes, this is a fun little regional difference.
In the US, where I'm from, we say on the street. I live on Park Avenue because the street is a surface.
Right. But in the UK, they often treat the street as a container. They say, I live in the street.
Playing in the street. That sounds so strange to my American ears.
And on the street can sound strange to British ears. Both are correct. It just depends on where you are.
That is good to know. So if our listeners hear in the street, it's not a mistake. It's just likely British English.
Exactly. Context is everything.
Wow. We have covered so much ground today. We went from geometric triangles to buses to the internet.
We really did. We don't want the panic to return.
Yes.
Listeners, if you're feeling that preposition panic, just stop. Don't try to memorize a dictionary.
What should they do instead?
Ask yourself the size question. Visualize it. Is this a big area or long time? Use in.
Is it a flat surface, a line, or a specific day? Use on.
Is it a tiny point or an exact moment? Use at.
It's so much simpler when you break it down like that. It turns a language problem into a visual one.
It does. Prepositions are just the directions of the English language. If you follow the map, you won't be lost.
I feel so much better. I think my nightmares are gone.
I am glad to hear that. In fact, I can use all three prepositions right now to describe my current state.
Oh, a final test. Let's hear it.
I am currently at my desk, on my computer, in a great mood.
Ah, that is perfect. You nailed it. A specific point, a digital surface, and an emotional container.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of our lesson today. We hope this mental map helps you navigate your English conversations with much more confidence.
Be sure to tune in to Vivid English Podcast next time. We have many more exciting topics coming up.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Keep practicing those prepositions.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.